What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, we got so much Scream 7 stuff to talk about. There was a pretty big article written by comicbook.com, and they go over some details of time periods and why now is the right time to do a Sidney movie, which I feel like there's a little, juggling act you have to perform there, right? But some really, really interesting stuff. So let's get into it. Let's read it all out, and I'll give you guys my impressions of it. So I'm going to take this from Scream News, fantastic source for this stuff, but again, originally from comicbook.com. Guy Busick talks about Scream 7. I don't want to give anything away about the reason that had to be a Sidney movie, because there's a really specific reason why Sidney is in this movie. We went to Nev Campbell and said, this is why Sidney now. Nev was like, oh, I get that. I pitched Kevin this first two, he got it, and then I pitched the studio, and I came up with the story with my co-writer on 5 and 6, James Vanderbilt. I believe that it was James that came up with it, bringing the Meeks twins. I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say it's through Gail. She's the connective tissue in 5 and 6, and she's in this. New York was obviously a big part of that. She's bonded with those four, and there's a reason why these two come to this town where the action is happening. It's not New York. It's an unspecified amount of time after 6, but in my mind, more than 2 years. I would say at least 2 years. It could be 2 years, but I would say 2 years plus. Okay, then on the Melissa stuff, we were excited about what we had for that movie. We wanted to do one more core 4 movie. We knew that fans love those characters. We love those characters. We created those characters. I would love to see in some universe the continuation of their characters in some way, but we weren't able to port over the stuff from the other story. It was like, okay, here's what the universe dealt us. We always wanted to do a Sidney movie, and so it was like, all right, let's get into it, and why now, and why this one? And now one other thing in terms of a rumor I just want to throw out there from Production Weekly, it's allegedly Scream 8 going to film in the first quarter of 2026. Now just really quickly, just to address that part, because I think that'll be quick. First quarter is like January through March, right? Technically, March 31st is the end of that first quarter. So I cannot believe that you would do Scream 8, start filming Scream 8 before 7 even comes out. I like the confidence. I like the confidence of green-lighting it. All cool there, okay? Well, I mean, we've talked about it before. Like, I'm kind of conflicted. It's like how much is too much? But then, there is a general excitement in me whenever a Scream movie, gets announced, even though I don't know if it's officially announced. Whatever. I would prefer, that you at least see how 7, you know what I mean? Because, like, if 7 comes out at the end of February, I guess I'm almost rooting for, like, just being a little cautious, right? I mean, hey, if they want to go for it, maybe that's, like, that super confidence where it's like, hey, we don't even really care how well 7 does. We're already going to start filming 8. Maybe we're even filming 8 when 7 comes out. It just feels weird to me that you would do that, right? Because what if it starts off slow or whatever? I'm not wishing for the worst for 7. I think it'll do good, but I just, as a company, when you're spending tens of millions of dollars, you think you would wait to see if, like, you're going to be okay. But whatever. So you have that. That's cool. I think it'll be in March. I think that's when they'll start filming. It's probably the very end of March. Give themselves like a month after 7 comes out. Now, in terms of the rest of the stuff, all right, that very specific reason why Sidney needs to be in it. Look, let's not mince words. I think a big part of it is because of what happened with Melissa Barrera. And I get it. Like, he can't say, I'm sure he cannot say certain things. Hopefully we can all kind of read through that. Now, what I find very interesting, okay, is the way he worded both of those, really, right? So they wanted to do a Sidney movie, and they intended to do one more Core 4 movie. Therefore, really, and again, I'm not diminishing what happened, and we've talked about it so many times over multiple years now, right? But I mean, what I really think, like, what it looks like is that the plan was, okay, we're going to do 5, 6, 7. We're going to do the Core 4, and then that's done. That's that arc. And then we do want to go back to Sidney. Maybe Halloween pushed them in that direction because of what they did with Jamie Lee. Whatever it might be. But I do, out of all of that, out of the entire, like, news that we just read, that is the most interesting to me, where it's like, okay, so the plan was always to go, which is funny because then it kind of goes into the fandom of like, oh, well, Sam is the new character. And I mean, look, Sam is the main character of 5 and 6. I'm not here to fight that. I know it gets very, very messy online, but it's just interesting, like, with all the fighting that's going on, we were kind of going to get both. You know what I mean? Like the people that say, okay, well, Sam is this new era of Scream. Well, she was. And I mean, 5 and 6 was. And it was supposed to be 5, 6, 7. And then for the people that were upset about Nev or whatever, then they were going to go back. And I guess now they're just moving it up. So 8 now becomes 7, right? And I mean, with 8 now seemingly in production, like you imagine that's a Sidney thing as well. Look, I want them to continue. I mean, to that second quote we read, it's kind of funny where he says, like, if there's a way in some universe, if we can continue it, there is a way in some universe. It was to not hand. And again, it's not him. Like, I don't want to take it out on him. I'm not taking it out on him. It's just funny. The wording he uses, he's like, well, if everything kind of aligned and we were able to, well, you know, it's not up to you. Hopefully things kind of resolve themselves through forces bigger than Guy, right? And they do get fixed and they can get brought back together. So just kind of interesting, you know, how he said that. And then, of course, like we knew it wasn't New York. I think we've known that for quite some time. The 2 years, I mean, he definitely seemingly had some trouble. He probably talks like I do, all disoriented and chopped off. But I mean, 2 years, 2+ years, whatever. Pretty interesting, you know. And the first thing that actually kind of went into my mind was the rumor that like Chad and Tara had broken up. And it's like, I don't love that because I actually really do like those two together. Not to ship them or anything, but I mean, they were already a couple in 6. I mean, 2 years, a lot can happen in 2 years, and I mean, you can explain it. I just wonder, you know, specifically with that, right? Because like 2 years. It does. I mean, it means something, I think, for Gail, right? Because it's like Gail has an extra 2 years to process the Dewey stuff. So, like, what does that look like? And then, you know, 2 years for Mindy and Chad, right? So what does that look like with them? And then also that relationship with the other two, you know, the rest of the core 4. What is that relationship? What happened, you know, in those 2 years? With Sidney, you know what? Let me take it back. Because Sidney, maybe it is the most important because it's the kids' ages, right? So, like, the girls, 2 years. So, okay, it has to be, right, because we know about the older daughter and being a main character of the freaking movie. So, like, she had to have had at least 3 in 5. I still find it weird. I'm sorry, I'm never really going to back down. The way 5 is framed is that she has, like, younger girls, and that's it. And she has, like, 2, and they're, like, right there, or whatever. At least that's how I interpret it. I know maybe some people did not interpret it that way. Obviously, in order to make the entire thing work, she needed to have a much older child during that time period, and you know, you're still going to have the 2 young ones, younger-ish, I guess, and then you're going to have the older one that's like 17, 18. So I guess the 2 years kind of makes a little bit of a difference only because of the age of her kids, not really for anything else regarding Sidney, like, as a person, right? But pretty freaking exciting. I will be honest, like, hearing or reading all that stuff yesterday, I was like, oh yeah, we're back, we're freaking in. Hey, it's another month chopped down. We're about to head into June, and just another month closer to the trailer and getting just ever so close, you know, to the movie coming out. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.